Hey there, comic book fans. I'm back again from the comic shop this week. Just walked in the door. And this week, what did I get? 5 comics. Couple of True Believers, and 3 from the pull list. And of course, comic shop news. Nice Spider-Man newspaper strip on it. Oh, no, it was interesting. Last week's comic shop news I was going through, and they had like the Diamond preview numbers in it. And I was looking at what True Believers were coming out next month. Because this month is Captain America month. Last month was Conan month. Next month is Avengers month. They got a bunch of Avengers stuff from the 80s and 90s coming out. Plus a couple of, the Infinity Gauntlet issues. Funny because they already did Infinity Gauntlet #1 True Believers. Now I think they're putting out 4 and 6 as True Believers editions in a month. So it's like half of the Infinity Gauntlet 6-issue miniseries will have been reprinted in True Believers. Wonder if they can come out with the other 3 sometime. But what I found interesting was, besides the Avengers, they're also having a couple Star Wars True Believers come out. And one of the ones they have coming out is issue 107, the last Star Wars Marvel issue from the 80s. And I was like, that's weird. Why are they coming out with why are we coming out with the last issue of Star Wars as a True Believers edition? And then I saw Walt Simonson posted his cover for Star Wars 108. So Marvel is also putting out a one-shot new Star Wars 108. So I'm like, that must be why they were coming out with 107, so they could have a 108 too. But I guess I was thinking about that a little more too, and I think the last couple of years of Star Wars were all new characters. All Marvel created new characters. They weren't using the classic Star Wars characters. So I'm guessing that it might be a Because Our Lawyers Demanded It issue 108, where if they want to keep the copyright, they want to renew the copyright of all those characters they came up with, they got to put out a new comic with them in it. But anyway, this week's True Believers... Need a little drink. This week's comic shop news, Xena, we'll see what this one has to do. I'm not sure. I was just talking a lot at the comic shop, so. Gotta wet my whistle. Well, let's see. Let's start with some True Believers. It being Captain Marvel month, we're on to the Marvel Captain Marvel, which is my Captain Marvel. This is, I first started reading him with the Jim Starlin stuff. I think this is issue 43? 41. Is this an Al Milgrom issue? I'm not sure why they're reprinting this one. Steve Englehart and Al Milgrom. Oh, this is the one with Wrights and inks some pages. P. Craig Russell inks some pages. Bob McLeod, Terry Austin, and Al Milgrom inks some pages. There's a lot of different inkers on this, so you can see some of these pages. Let's see if we can pick out a Bernie Wrightson inked page. It was pointed out to me before, but because I have this original, now I've got a fresh new copy. Nah, I'm not that good at picking out Wrightson pages. Like I said, different inkers, different pages. But I'm not sure, I guess because Ronan the Accuser is in this one. On the cover, they picked it with the Supreme Intelligence. Then, of course, the other one is the very first appearance. Captain Marvel, The Coming. I think I read this years and years ago. I've never owned the original, but I may have read it in a reprint. Stan Lee and Gene Colan with Frank Giacoia on the inks. I was never a fan of the green and white Captain Marvel. I remember reading a few issues of it in my youth, but I was all about the Jim Starlin stuff. Oh, Chris Claremont. What's this? There's a reprint in the back by Claremont, Dave Ross, and Bob Wiacek. I'm friends with Bob Wiacek. I'll have to tell him that this is another one that's reprinted. I'm not sure where this is from. I wonder if it says in here. Marvel Fanfare number 24. So the backup is Marvel Fanfare. So I guess this comes from Marvel Fanfare 24. Interesting. Okay, now we'll move on to a couple of last issues. We've got Strangers in Paradise 25, issue 10. I do believe this is the last issue of this. I think this is an homage to the first Strangers in Paradise cover or something. Some issue 1. I recognize that, but I can't remember where from. So, and these last few issues have been a total mashup of Rachel Rising, Echo, Strangers in Paradise, and all of a sudden I can't remember the one with a gorilla again. So all those characters have appeared in here. So he's merging all his different series into one world. But I've enjoyed this. This has been more action oriented than the other Strangers in Paradise, which were more about the relationship between Kachu and Francine. So this has been much more of an action book, but I'm enjoying it. And the other last issue, The Magic Order number 6. Remember when I told you that most Mark Millar stories are very straightforward and there's no twists? Well, there was a big twist at the end of issue 5. Took me by surprise because I just was expecting no twists. And so now we'll have to see. I don't even want to flip through it. I left it on a big cliffhanger. Fight like a girl. I guess that's going to be the theme of this issue because she was attacked at the end of the... She was kind of a minor... Oh, she's not minor, but it's been more about the brothers than the sister and the father and the mother. So she was thrown into the forefront of the story at the last issue. So we'll see what happens to her in this one. Netflix. But yeah, I've been enjoying. I'm hit or like a Prodigy that Mark Millar wrote was a miss with me, but this one's been a hit. So I'm hit and miss with his series, but that was a good one. And Criminal number 2, a regular sized issue. The issue number 1 was like double sized, and I enjoyed it. The Criminal is, I find it tough to get into Criminal. So like that, I enjoyed the first issue, but it's still kind of the least favorite of my Brubaker and Phillips series because like Stray Bullets is another story that's all about criminals, but some of the criminals are really likable and charming. So you care about them, even though they do crazy, outrageous stuff a lot of the times that you wouldn't want to hang out with them. But at least they're kind of, some of them are nice at times. These guys are not really. I mean, they're at best they're kind of not nice. I mean, they're just. You don't want to be anywhere near these criminals. Nowhere near. They're just going to take advantage of you, steal your stuff, and beat you up. That's it. So even though they're good stories, I sometimes find them a little off-putting because there's no one in this book that you'd even want to sit down next to at a McDonald's cafeteria. So I do enjoy it, but there's no one in it I like. That's an interesting comic. Let me show you a little something I've done here. Well, we can show you, this is one of my dreams of things. Number 61, Weird Robot Face. I like this one. Other than 60, I didn't like some, or was it 60? Yeah, 60, I didn't like some. I'm liking the way 61 came out. It's kind of weird and scary and sci-fi-ish and dreamlike. Lots of textures in the brushwork, plus some straight lines. I must say I'm happy with that one. I like the pink color, and this behind it is probably not as interested in this because you don't know any of the people in it. But this was Marvel Comics. Hold on, I'll bring some. I was inspired to do this last week. 1996 was the kind of last big Marvel Comics party. This was Mark Gruenwald was always the sort of MC of all the Marvel office parties, and he died just a couple months before this Marvel office party. And so this was kind of the last of them where people wanted to keep it going just kind of in his honor and whatever, but it was a little bittersweet because, like I said, he died suddenly. But I took all these pictures back in 1996 and just made a big collage of them. We'll show you some of the costumes. I don't know if there's anyone famous here. Ladybug. Long Shot, Robot Monster. That was a better picture of Doctor Doom. Rom the Space. There's a Black Knight costume. Samurai. Flo Steinberg with her mask on. Basically, let's see. We had a Cat Wolf there. A Spider Boy. Dorothy. There's Doctor Doom over there. Nice Doctor Doom costume. So, I was inspired to make this. Posted it on my Facebook for all my old Marvel friends to see. It's fun going through the memories, but one of these is a freaking lot of work. Especially since I scanned in all the negatives years ago, but there was something wrong with these negatives and they were scratched up. So I had to touch up all the negatives and then made this big thing out of it. So, there you go. Little artwork, little photography. And you guys all have a good week out there.